Hello guys, welcome back to tutorial. Today we are going to learn how to make this multi-pocket crossbody bag. If you have not subscribed to my channel, please kindly do so. Don't leave without subscribing. I'm my returning subscribers. Thank you. Let's go to the cutting table. Okay, these are the materials we'll be using for this tutorial. So I will give you the rundown of all the materials you need for you to be able to achieve this particular cross bag. So what I have here, my leather, I have 10 inches by 10 inches, one piece. 10 inches by 4 inches, one piece. 10 inches by 2 inches, I have 5 pieces. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 8 inches by 2 inches, I have 1 piece. These are the leather you need for it. So now we are going to the lining. So for my lining, I have 10 inches by 20 inches lining, 1 piece. 10 inches by 16 inches lining, 1 piece. 10 inches by 14 inches lining, 1 piece. 10 inches by 12 inches lining, 1 piece. 10 inches by 8 inches lining, 1 piece. So I have my zip clothes also. I have 8 inches zip clothes and I have 4 pieces, 1, 2, 3, 4. I also have 10 inches zip clothes, 1 piece. I also have all these leathers for my zip clothes. I have about 8 pieces here for my zip clothes. Remember, we have 4 pieces of 8 inches zip clothes, and I'm going to attach it at the 2 ends of the zip clothes. So each zip cloth I will use 2 pieces on each zip cloth. So that's why I have 8 pieces. And remember, you have to cut lining for it also. I'm using 1-inch belt for this tutorial, and I have here cut at 3 inches belt. I have 2 pieces of it for my D-ring. I have 2 D-rings. I have 1 adjuster. Then for the handle of the bag, I have this 1-inch belt also, and I cut at 16 inches long. The length is 16 inches. You can reduce it if you feel that it's too long. You can reduce it, but I'm okay with this for this tutorial. So now that we are done with knowing the materials we need for this particular tutorial, we are now moving forward to the sewing. So okay, we are going to start with our zip cloth. We're going to sew our leather to it. We'll put it on it this way. The right side of my leather we face the right side of my zipper. Remember, I told you we cut lining. You put your lining under and sew. After sewing, I will turn it and top stitch. I will also sew on this. This is what I will do in the 4 pieces of my zip clothes. But before I proceed, I will have to fix my zip head to all the zip clothes. So this is what I have now after sewing everything. Hope you can see it. So now I'm going to pick my 10 by 4 inches leather and my 10 by 8 inches leather. So I will pick one of these, my zip clothes. I'll put it here. You have to notch the two centers and match it together. Then when I notch it, I'll put it right side facing each other the way I did now. Then I will put my lining on top it. Then I will sew it. So this is what I have now after stitching it. I'm done stitching it. this is what I have after stitching it. So I'm going to turn it to the right side and top stitch on it. So I'm done top stitching it. So I'm going to fold my lining this way. It has to be equal with my zip cloth. Then I will bring one of the 10 by 2 inches. One of the 10 by 2 inches, I will put it on it this way and sew. So I'm done stitching it. So the next thing I'm going to do, I will turn it over this way and top stitch on it. I'm done top stitching on it. So I'm going to pick another zip cloth. I'll put it here this way. Then I'll pick my 10 by 12 lining. By 12 lining. I'll put it on it and sew. So I'm done sewing it now. So the next thing I'm going to do is that I will turn it and also top stitch. So this is it. Please be careful, watch your zipper, make sure that your zipper is facing, your zip head is facing the same place. You see mine now. So now that I'm done sewing it, I will also fold my lining this way. I will bring another 2 by 10 leather and place it on it and sew. When I'm done sewing, I will turn it and top stitch. So I'm done top stitching it. So I have to pick another zip cloth. I'll put it here this way. Then I will pick my 10 by 16 lining. Put on top of it and sew. Okay, I'm done sewing it and top stitching it. You can see it. So what I'm going to do, I will turn it, fold my lining over, arrange it well, pick another 10 by 2 inches leather, place it on top of it. You can see the way I'm doing it. I will sew on it. After sewing it, I will turn it and top stitch. So I'm done sewing it and top stitching on it. So this is what I have now. So I'm going to keep this aside. So I'm going to pick my 10 by 10 inches leather. So I'm going to measure 2.5 inches. .5 inches. So I will cut it out. So this is what I have after cutting it out now. So I'm going to pick my zip cloth. Then I will put it this way on it. Then I will pick my 10 by 14 inches lining. 10 by 14 inches lining. I will put it on top and sew. After sewing, I will turn it and top stitch. So I'm done sewing it and top stitching it. So I will move my lining this way. Then I will bring the 2.5 inches that I cut out. I will place it here. I will sew it and turn it and top stitch. So I'm done sewing it and top stitching it. This is what I have now. So I'm going to put it side by side with this one. if you put it side by side and you have any excess, maybe based on your sewing allowance you are taking, you have any excess down here, you trim off the excess. So as I put it side by side like this, I'll make sure that it's equal both up and down and the two sides. So I will sew it this way and also sew it this way. Okay, this is what I have after joining it. So what I'm going to do next, this is my 8 by 2 inches leather. The leather I'm working with is not that strong, so that's why I have to gum a carry board on it. If your leather is very strong, you don't need to do this. So this now, I'm going to fold it in this way to notch the midpoint here. I will also fold it this way and notch the midpoint. So after notching it now, I'll pick this one. This is the up, while this place that our linings have this fold is the down. So I will open it this way, open the seam allowance. This mid notch point here, I'll make sure that it match with this my stitch line. I'll put it here. Then I will clip it. I will also do the same thing on this side. Make sure that your notch point match the stitch line. I will also clip it. So I will take it to my sewing machine now and sew it round. So after sewing it, this is what I have now. You can see it. You see my lining. I did not sew it together with my lining. Take note of that. So I'm going to turn this now to the right side. So after turning it to the right side, this is what I have now. You can see. So I'm going to sew my D-ring to it. I've put my 3 inches belt that I cut out, the 2 pieces. I put my D-ring inside. So I'll come to this seam line here. Make sure you open the seam allowance inside this way. Centralize it with this seam line and stitch. You also do the same. I'm going to also do the same on this side. And also see the way I placed it. My D-ring is facing down. Then I will sew. So after sewing my D-ring, this is what I have now. So now I will take my 10 by 20 inches lining, which is this, and I will also bring my 10 inches zip cloth. So this is my 10 by 2 inches leather. So I will put my lining, my zip cloth on my lining this way. I will place my leather on it. I will sew it. After sewing, I will turn it and top stitch. So I'm done sewing it and top stitching it. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to move my zipper to my lining this way, on this side, this way. You see it? This is it. Then I will take the last 10 by 2 inches leather. I will place it here like this. I will arrange it and I will sew it, turn it, and also top stitch on it. So after sewing it, this is what I have. You can see I've top stitched it. So now I'm going to fix my zip head now. So after fixing my zip head, this is it. I did it up coming. Just bring it up this way. Make sure that it's equal. So you will sew it down. So on one side, on this side, you also make sure that it's equal. You will sew it. When you get to somewhere here, you stop. Give like 3 inches space where you will turn it from. when you finish sewing, then you sew down. You give 3 inches space on this at the center here, then you sew down. So I've sewn the side. You can see I left here open where I will turn it from. So now the next thing I'm going to do is from here I'm going to measure 1.5 inches. I'll also take 1.5 inches from here. One and a half inches. So I will do same here. 1.5 inches. I will take 1.5 inches this way. So this is my midpoint here. This is also for this one. What I'm going to do now, I'm going to put it this way. I'll open my seam allowance here, then I will sew it here. I will also do same here. I will open my seam allowance and also sew it here. So this is what I have after sewing it now. So you have to trim off the excess lining here. We do same here also. So after trimming off the excess lining, you now bring this and put it inside this way. Make sure that this middle and this middle are lined together, and also the other side also. Remember, always remember to open your seam allowance before you sew. So you come to this side, make sure that it's also aligned together here. Make sure it aligns together here, and is also equal here. So then you take it to your sewing machine and sew it round. That's what I'm going to do now. I'm going to sew it round. So I'm done sewing it round. You can see the way I open my seam allowance. So now that I'm done sewing it, I have to bring it out from here. So this is what I have now after bringing it out. So this place now, I have to arrange it well and stitch it. Then when I'm done stitching it, I'll put it inside this way. Then I will top stitch it round. So these are what I'm going to do now. I will sew the lining, that place that I used to turn it, I will sew it, then I will now top stitch it round. Okay, I'm done top stitching it round. This is what I have. And my lining also, I have stitched that place close. You can see it here. So this is my bag now. So I have to zip it. This is it. See. So now now it's the time to prepare our the handle. So first I'm going to put my adjuster. So I'll put my belt here, affording like 1/4 of an inch. Then I will now stitch it down here. So on this side I will pass my belt from here, then pass it from under my adjuster from this way, and now sew it. That's what I'm going to do now. So I'm done sewing my belt handle. So this brings us to the end of this tutorial. If you have watched to this extent and you have not subscribed to my channel, kindly do so to support me. And my returning subscribers, I cannot do without you guys. Thank you very much, and God bless you.